Well, hello there and happy Thanksgiving Eve. I am so excited to be here with you today. Not for any particular reason. I just love hanging out with you and just talking about stuff and things because I love the stuff and things. So stuff and thing number one, I just got back the other day. That would be Monday. Every day is the other day. Have I told you this before? I think I have. Uh, Anything that isn't happening right this minute happened the other day. The other day could be 6 months ago. It could be yesterday. It's always the other day. So just so you know, but just to clarify, just got home Monday night and from Florida. I was there for just under a week. We did a pre Thanksgiving with my daughter and son-in-law and the baby, and we did their baby shower for baby number two, which is due in January. And oh my God, that's like a hot second away. I am out of my head with excitement. I can't wait. Um, I'm anxious for my daughter and my son-in-law because, two kids under two, that's a lot. That is a lot. But they have an incredible support system. My son-in-law's parents are very, very close by and very helpful and just absolutely wonderful, wonderful people. And I get to be there for the whole month of January to help out and spend some really great quality time with them. So yeah, I will be in a different studio. It won't actually be a studio, just be a little area that I set up to do my recording in January. So yeah, you'll see a little change of scenery is what you'll see coming in January. That'll be fun though, right? That's always different. Change things up a little bit, and I'll have some palm trees maybe in the background. No, actually, let's see. Their place. I don't think they have any palm trees on their property. They have those. I think they're oaks. The big oak trees. Those with the what is that? Spanish moss, I think it is, with the moss hanging down. It's so beautiful, and they have horses, and so I love. It's like it's a little paradise for me. I'm very excited. I love it. So that's what I'll be doing in January. But oh my God, we got to get through the holidays first. Why am I skipping so far ahead? I'm already, well, you know why? Because I'm in baby mode. I'm in grandmother mode, or in my case, I'm German and Cuban, and we went with Oma and Opa for grandparent names. One, because that's what I grew primarily up with. I grew up saying, because that's what we called my grandparents. And of course, my Cuban grandparents, we called abuela and abuelo. But I did spend more time with the German side growing up. So that was what I picked. And there were also selfish reasons behind that too, because Oma is probably going to be pretty easy to say. Well, it is because she says it. My granddaughter says Oma. So that was a given. I wanted her to be able to say that really early. So let's see. So we've got Thanksgiving, like a blink away, and we are going to my dad and stepmom's house, and that'll be nice. That'll be fun. They usually have a full house, great food, all of this stuff and things. Nice and relaxing for us. I haven't hosted a holiday in like a really, really long time. It's been quite a few years since I've hosted a holiday, and I did always love it. I'm a homebody anyhow, so I enjoy being home. I enjoy cooking. I love cooking for people. Like I love parties in that sense. So here's the thing. I love preparing for parties. I love all of the stuff that comes with it, like the setting up of the table and the cooking the food and all of that. But then when everybody's there, I actually tend to like stay in the kitchen more, and yeah, I don't think I engage as much as I should. I'm bad like that. I don't know. Maybe that's part of my ADHD. Maybe it's part of being an introvert. Whatever it is, it's just the way it is. 51 years of being the way that I am. Who cares at this point? It is. No surprises for anyone. But I do enjoy it. So that'll be fun. We'll bring a dish. That's what we'll do. I hope you guys have lovely plans for Thanksgiving. I know some people are going out to like a restaurant and doing it that way. I think we've done it like that at least once which was totally fine. I don't really have a preference. Who cares, right? If you got your family around and nobody's fighting over politics, it's all good. Is that a thing anymore? Does anybody not fight about politics on the holidays? My goodness. I refuse to. I hope I didn't just jinx myself. Because we have opposing views, of course, like every family. Does every family completely agree politically? I listen, I want to meet you because I want to be part of your family. If you all agree and get along easily, I guess the best way to do it is simply not to talk about those hot button topics where everybody gets riled up and wants to fight. But yes, some immediate family members have different views than I do, and that's okay. That's okay as long as we don't get into big discussions about it. Because I'm not good. I can admit that I'm not good. I am somebody who does get a little hot under the collar, and so do those particular relatives. We can get fired up. So why do that? Why? We're not changing each other's minds, I don't think, at any point. So just let it go. Let it go. Let everybody believe what they need to believe. And to be honest with you, I am tired of it. I'm exhausted from the constant arguing and division and fights. And, the thing I keep coming back to, and this is not a novel concept by any means. This was not my brainstorm. It's not going to be when you hear it. We have to realize that this is manufactured. So much of it, not all of it, but so much of this division is manufactured and manufactured deliberately by the, media, of course, politicians, media, celebrities. They're just part of the machine, really. They don't really think for themselves. They just, whatever. But they count because they do influence people who are influenced by celebrities. They're influenced by them. They listen to them, which is baffling to me. Isn't it baffling to you? Like, really? Like a celebrity. You're going to listen to somebody whose job is to pretend. They get paid to pretend. And that's the person you're going to go to for your, social commentary and your political beliefs and morality, all of that. It's bizarre to me. I suspect it's probably bizarre to you. But, here we are. People do. Their platforms are elevated and pushed. It's so crazy. And, it's not funny. It's not funny, but it is funny. It's one of those things so it's not funny. It's infuriating. So let's find ways to make fun of it, which is obviously what I do all the time, very regularly over on the TikTok, which I was because we were in Florida for the week. And I've been doing this more lately. So I go every month. And when I go, I usually bring all my gear. I bring my laptop, my camera, my ring light, my microphone. I bring the whole setup so I can work from there. And the past 3 visits, I've said, you know what? Just no, I'm taking a break here. I'm actually going to 100% focus on family time and not work. I'm not going to be checking, Twitter every 2 seconds. I'm not going to be checking the news and seeing what's going on. I'm going to actually decompress. And that's what I've been doing. So this week in particular, this past week while we were in Florida, I think I made two TikTok videos, but I cheated and I just repurposed an older video and kind of made it into I made a whole bunch of videos into a montage. So it took me, all of 10, 15 minutes to do and put that up just to have some content up there because that's a thing. To keep content out regularly. You don't understand. You don't understand. Let me get dramatic about it and use my celebrity voice. You don't understand what it's like to be a celebrity. Okay. Yeah. That was a cross between Kardashian and one of the Kardashians, whichever they are. Correct me if I'm wrong. That sounded like a cross between a Kardashian and what the heck's her name? I do her all the time. Kamala Harris, right? Wasn't it like a cross between the two? I keep hitting, I moved my little microphone thing. I'm forgetting what they call it. But I keep hitting it with my elbow. Sorry, guys. I only made a couple of videos, did not pay a lot of attention to that stuff, which is wonderful while you're there. But when you come back and you try and get back to work, I'm a little out of sorts here. Like I go through this every single month. I feel like I say this to you once a month. I'm out of sorts. Like I probably could make a montage of that, of me saying I'm out of sorts. But I am. I did not miss looking at the news. I did. I looked at my Twitter feed. I'm not saying, yeah, I can't be a big fat lie. Of course, at night, like before bed, in the morning, when I'm drinking my coffee, I scroll through and I look what's going on. And, as usual, my blood pressure goes up and, I get agitated. But, but that's what got me thinking so much about how much this is so orchestrated and purposed to do that to us. Like nobody really wants us. Nobody in charge wants us talking to each other, communicating with each other, listening to each other and hearing what the other party has to say. And I'm not, I don't, we like to always say mockingly that the left is the party of tolerance. And of course, we're being very sarcastic about that. And I don't not mean that sarcasm. I definitely do. I think their hypocrisy is mind-blowing, but that is the people that we see on social media. Typically when you're having conversations with your neighbor or whoever, generally everybody is fine. Like we're okay with each other. Like we don't agree, right? We don't necessarily agree on much of anything, but we could be cool. We'll talk about the weather. We'll talk about our dog or the holidays coming up, what you're making for the holidays, where you're you just talk about normal life things. And I think when you get super immersed in like the social media aspect of everything, you forget that. I forget that. I'm not accusing you of forgetting these things. I'm accusing myself totally. And we get into this mindset. So don't just, I hope you don't mind. Let me just use the generic we. Okay. I'm lumping you in with me. So I apologize. We forget the human aspect of it. And I thought of this specifically just the other day because I was on Twitter and I saw it and I don't remember who it was, but it was a blue check user person, somebody with status. And they said something to the effect of, if you're on the left, then you blah, blah, blah. It was like something very, or if you believe this, then you are yada, yada. And it gave me a moment of pause. I was like, wow, it's really alienating. It's really off-putting. And it does nothing to make somebody want to see your perspective. And I'm guilty of doing this all the time. I've gotten very jaded, very lacking in compassion, I would say, because everything becomes so impersonal. So, you're seeing people with their perspectives that are completely opposite from your own, sharing their opinions in the way that they do. And then you react to that, right? Like this is the way it goes. You see something, you react to it, whatever. But we don't really think about it. We don't take the pause. And I used to be really good at taking the pause and saying, okay, wait, hang on. I do think that this person is absurd. I do think that their beliefs are insane. Even to the point of being literally mentally ill in their beliefs. But there's also this human aspect that can get dropped to the wayside. And you almost have to force yourself to stop and say, hang on. This is a person who's had life experiences that have led them to this point in life to believe these things. And, a lot of that goes back. I've talked about this many times before. This goes back to what they are taught and what they learn in school, because they're not taught to think, they're taught to comply and believe what they're told instead of thinking for themselves. And that is a huge problem in and of itself. That probably is the crux of the problem, that kids are not being taught to think. They're being indoctrinated, really. So I've just had this conversation in my own mind about, what if we more often than not take a moment and try to understand where they're coming from, because listening to somebody actually makes them more receptive to listening to you. They feel heard, they feel seen, they feel accepted, because what our side seems very unwelcoming and unaccepting to these alternate lifestyle people. So you know where I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the trans community. I'm talking about all these they, them, z, whatever, all of these pronouns and everything. So I guess I'm kind of really specifically talking about that group in particular, who we seem to have like the biggest divide with. And I just feel like conversation is needed instead of just drawing the line and say, well, you believe this, so we can't be friends. We can't communicate. Now, there are going to be people that are absolutely not receptive. They don't want to, they hear on both sides. They hear conservative and they hate you. They don't have to know you. They don't even know your name. They just hate you and they want you to die, basically. And there are people on the right that hear liberal and kind of feel the same way, right? We actually don't wish them harm. That would probably be the most significant difference, that generally speaking, I'm always talking in general. Well, not always, but I'm speaking in generalizations. We don't actually wish them any harm. We wish them better. We wish them well. We wish them better mental health, because for obvious reasons. I guess this is like my really obscenely long-winded way of saying, let's try and open up those lines of communication a little bit more. I think that is what is lacking. Let's stop being so quick to, condemn and judge and, get on our moral high horses. Again, I'm guilty. I am guilty of that. I tend to think I'm not like your typical female. I don't think. I mean, I am in a lot of ways, or the stereotypical female, I guess I should say. That's probably a better way to say it. I do tend to think more in like black and white terms when it comes to certain issues. I can be very unbending on things. You know what I did? I hope you don't mind if we're just like so random today. This is a very random day. It's just a conversation. We're having a cup of coffee and we're having a conversation. Cool. Or if you have a cocktail right now, I don't know. Well, for me, it's a little early for a cocktail, unless it's mimosas or Bloody Marys. I could really go for a Bloody Mary right now. But yeah, so here's something I did. This is, again, slightly random, but also tied in. I was scrolling through Facebook. I think it was Facebook. Scrolling through Facebook. Yeah, Facebook last night. And, doing the zombie scroll that we do when we're tired. And I came across Jordan P. Peterson. I can never do that. Jordan B. Peterson. Jordan Peterson. Let's just leave out the B. I came across, and I've seen it many times come up on my news feed. It's a personality assessment test. Hang on, what's it called? Pulling up my phone to see. I got to see what it's called again. Let's see. Oh, it's the Big Five Aspect Scale. The Big Five Aspects Scale. And I've seen it a bunch of times, and the ads for it have been compelling enough and frequent enough, because that's what they do. They just keep showing it over and over again to either block it or just check it out. And in this case, I decided it hit me right at the right time to check it out and see what it was about. And of course, it's something you pay for. And by the way, this is not a paid endorsement. I get nothing for talking about this, sharing my results, or any of that stuff. No affiliation whatsoever, just conversation. So I decided, like, on the spur of the moment, let me check this out and see. Let me take this test. It's like, I don't know, it's like $10 or something like that, $9.95, And I did that, and I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. So it's like 100 questions, self-assessment questions. You answer the questions, You just check the boxes basically. And at the end of it, at the end of the 100 questions, it tells you results, your assessment. It's like any, it's like remember back in the day, like Cosmopolitan magazine would have the tests that you take, personality quizzes. I go all the way back to like Tiger Beat when you took those little tests too. This one's just a little higher tech, I think. So I did this assessment thinking, well, this should be interesting, right? And I have to admit, every assessment type thing like this I've ever done, I've always come like I'm always right smack in the middle of basically everything. So I kind of expected this to be more of the same. Like I was going to be like completely right down the middle, like as average, moderate, balanced, shall we say, as can be. And lo and behold, I was not. And in retrospect, I'm not exactly entirely surprised. So I want to share some of the things. I probably shouldn't share like too much of it. But again, it's called the Big Five Aspects Scale. And let's see. So what does he say the big five aspects are? So that helps. Okay. Agreeableness, conscientiousness, extroversion, neuroticism, and openness. Is that five? 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry. Yeah. And openness to experience. So you're being rated on all these five things on this scale. Some surprises, initial surprises, but when I read, so it goes into like really into depth as to how you score. So I'm going to give you like the example here. I won't go through all of them because it's boring. I mean, what do you care, right? But you might care for yourself to be interested in this. So this is why I'm actually sharing it, because I think it's really interesting to understand your motivations and how and why you do things, right? Like you think you know, but maybe you don't fully know. I don't know. So agreeableness, that was the first one. And I scored moderately high. And that, which I completely agreed with. I said, did you hear that? I completely agreed in my agreeableness. I'm sorry. It just cracked me up there. So it says a moderately high in agreeableness, which is the primary dimension of interpersonal interaction in the Big Five personality trait scientific model. It has two aspects, compassion and politeness, and they get explained separately, is what it says. Higher scores and lower scores need to be explained. Okay. So people high, this is me. People high in agreeableness are nice, compliant, nurturing, kind, naively trusting, and conciliatory. Yes, I see that in myself. Yes. Because of their tendency to avoid conflict, they often dissemble and hide what they think. This is very true. This was so accurate. So what's most interesting to me about this whole thing is the accuracy, because there's parts of this that I didn't like, that I was like, oh, but the more I read it and the more of a pause I kind of took with myself to really allow to understand it, I realized, well, this is very true. Like, I'm going to give you the example. So that was one thing. I'm scrolling. Let's see. I scored, what did I score low in? Oh, here's an interesting one. It is interesting, and it's also not surprising, and I'll explain. So I scored moderately low on compassion, which when I read that, my automatic response was, oh God, that's terrible. I'm not a compassionate person. And here's the thing, when I was taking this test, I struggled with answering a lot of these questions. So it's a scale. Each question is a scale, which is most describes me, or most of the time, all the way to least of the time, basically. So, you're either this sentence describes me like perfectly, kinda, not at all, not really, I'm not sure, to 100% totally agree. That's how each question is rated, and you pick which one, right? So this represents me not at all, totally, yada, yada. You get it. I know you get it. So I was struggling with each question because I was overthinking it, I guess, in a way, because I was going, Well, question, this wasn't actually a question, but, basically if somebody does something to harm themselves, I'm making this question up. It's not on this test at all. But if somebody does something to harm themselves, what would your reaction be? Would you be, very sympathetic? Would you not be? Blah, blah, blah. So every question I would pause and go, well, it depends on the circumstances. Like it depends on the who, the why, the what. Like I need information. I need a backstory as to be able to tell you how I would react. So I struggled quite a bit on answering those questions. And I ended up, the ones where I particularly struck, some were very easy. Some were like, no thought needed. I knew the answer right off the bat. But ones like in that lane, I had to take that big pause and go, I don't really know. Like, what's my reaction going to be based on nothing, like just how would I react? So I had a hard time. And so that almost makes me question if that's the correct assessment, the moderately low in compassion, because I don't know if I answered as accurately or as fairly or as justly as I could have or should have. And this was a thing that it did talk about before you take the test, that the timing of taking the test is actually pretty important. Like you shouldn't be hungry, because you'll get hangry, and then you'll answer things accordingly with that kind of mindset and mood. You shouldn't be tired or frustrated or angry, or you shouldn't be any extreme of anything. You should be just kind of like right in the middle mindset wise, if you decide to take the test. Again, it's neither here nor there to me if you do or don't. I'm just thinking it might be interesting. You might be interested in it. So yeah, so there was that one, the moderately low in compassion. So what it says is that less compassionate people are not primarily oriented towards the problems of other people or other living things. They are less swayed by cuteness. They are willing to make other people experience negative emotions by engaging in conflict and competition. They like to win. They are less concerned about helping other people. They make sure their own needs and interests are attended to, and are less likely to sacrifice for the sake of other people. This can make them appear harsh and unsympathetic. People might turn to them for the truth, but not for a soft, patient, eternally listening ear. Now, this was where, when I read that part, that was actually when I went, oh, yeah, that's pretty accurate, actually. Because I consider myself like a problem solver. I don't like sitting and talking about a problem to death. I would be a terrible therapist. I've made a bunch of TikTok videos about if I were a therapist. I would love for you to go watch them. I'm going to show you one right here. This sums me up quite a bit.
My husband said the other day that I give really good advice. He was being sarcastic because I gave really sarcastic advice. But it's got me just imagining myself as a therapist. So what brings you here today?
Hi, I'm here because I'm just struggling with a lot of things. My boyfriend is just, he's been really, really cold to me, and my family thinks that I'm not doing anything with my life, and my job is really just,
I'm gonna stop you right there. Yeah, based on what you're saying to me, you sound like a crybaby bitch, really.
I'm not a crybaby bitch.
All right, so let me just make sure I understand what you're saying here. You're upset because your family members are not being nice to you. You're not satisfied in your work, and your boyfriend sounds like he's a real asshole. Is that about right?
I mean, yeah, that's the gist of it.
All right, well, this feels like a one and done for me. Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna dump the loser boyfriend. You are gonna quit that job that sucks and get one that's good, and you're gonna tell your family to fuck all the way off.
You are really, really mean.
You came to me with a problem, I gave you a solution. If you don't want to take the solution, then you're gonna have to go somewhere else, because I'm not dealing with this bullshit.
I'm leaving.
Oh, were you hoping for a prescription? Here, I'll write one for put your big girl pants on, you baby.
So, yeah. That's the German in me. What do you want from me, guys? Come on. Um, so yes, I am the person that if you came to me and you said, I'm having this problem, because I've evolved in my maturity somewhat, I will actually ask if it's not clear what they want from me. I will actually ask, do you just want to talk about it? Do you want me to help you solve this problem? Like, what do you want from me? So I know what to give you, basically. So that's where maturity comes in, and evolving and all of those things. So, but yes, my natural tendency is to go, okay, I got it. I understand the problem. So what are we going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Like, how can you solve it? Like, I move into problem solving mode for myself, never mind other people, like for myself. I could be still crying over something or still angry over something, but in my mind, I'm already looking for the solution and trying to fix it. So that's my mindset. That's how I come at things. And yes, I agree that can come across as being harsh or uncaring. I mean, as my older daughter, I told you a while back, she broke her ankle. And she was staying with us, for recuperation and all that kind of stuff. Um, and she was having a really, really hard time with being, restricted in mobility, pain, all of this stuff and things. And we got into probably more than one, but one significant fight, like really yelling at each other, like big. And my kids don't raise their voice to me, so that's how angry she was. She's a full grown adult. She's 30 years old. But still, they don't they don't talk to me like that. You know what I mean? So it was a legit fight. I mean, our tempers were through the roof, and I was extremely frustrated with her because she was unable to move into that mindset that I thought she should be in. She was extremely upset with me because I wasn't being as compassionate and sympathetic as she wanted and needed me to be. And I honestly, and I still, I can't, I can't move into that mode and be genuine about it. Because I get so frustrated. So yes, so as much as I didn't like to hear that I was moderately low in, I think it was moderately low, or is it just low? Moderately low in compassion, I had to kind of take that pause and go, well, shit, I am moderately low in compassion. Now, that's not to say I'm not compassionate at all. I'm very compassionate. Um, I actually think I'm very compassionate, but I guess it's very selective, right? What else? You know what I got? Very high in politeness. A bajillion% true. I am excessively polite. I really am. I should be British. I'm so polite. Yeah, I was like, and then it tells you what percentiles you're in comparison to 100 other people. So it tells you where you rate on this average. So I was in the 92nd percentile for politeness. Interesting, right? Conscientiousness put me very low, very low. Again, when I take the pause to be honest with myself, yes, I can agree with that. And a lot of these things, so I'm done reading this to you because you get the idea. So a lot of these things were very interesting because, well, one, obviously they're almost painful accuracy at times, but it really was fascinating to me. So if you're interested in things like that, I say go check it out. The Big Five assessment, something or other. No memory. So that's another thing, actually. Attention to detail. Nope. Nope. I don't. I would make a terrible crime witness because I have next to zero situational awareness. And a lot of that, according to this, and it's accurate, is a reflection of being a creative person, somebody who's, into beauty. And that was another thing actually on there that I was like, yep, you pegged me, you got me 100%. Like you see me, that I am someone who seeks out beauty in pretty much everything all the time. I'm always looking for beauty, whether it's, you know, a sunrise, a sunset, a person. Uh, I that's what I look for. That's what I'm interested in. I actually, so here's a random story, not story, but a random fact. I cannot drive past, if we're driving, especially in the evening, it's always in the evening. If we are driving a residential area and I happen to look over and we pass by somebody's house and I see a person sitting alone at a table or on their couch or whatever, but if I see a person sitting alone inside their house, I go into this really dark, not a depression, because it's not depression, but sadness. It's just, it makes me so infinitely sad that I can't stand it. Like I can't even bear it. So there, who says I'm not compassionate? Well, my test did, but yeah, it's a weird thing. Like there's just things I can't deal with. Like they make me so sad and I hate feeling sad. So yeah, I am definitely a pleasure seeker kind of person, a beauty seeker, not detail oriented. Also, it's just crazy to see how accurate that is. I'm sorry that was such a long-winded story and way of saying, hey, go check that thing out because it's kind of cool. And I would love to actually hear. I tell you every time, I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you think of that. If you did it, if you took this assessment, and if you felt that it was accurate or not accurate, if you had the same struggle as me with answering the questions and not overthinking them too much and just trying to find like the baseline to answer the question, I'd be curious to hear that. So let's see, what else? So we've got Christmas coming up. OMG. How do I feel about that? I'm excited, not because it's Christmas, but because I'll be in Florida with a baby. That's why I'm excited. I honestly, you know, I've gotten to this point in life, and I've been like this for quite a few years now, that I don't actually care. And I know this sounds harsh. What a surprise after listening to my assessment. I don't really care about the holidays that much. It's not the holidays for me. It's the time. It is time. It is all about time with the people that I want to be with family and all that stuff. So I don't care if it's Christmas or a Tuesday. It doesn't matter to me. Just give me the time with my family and the people that I love. And that's all I care about. That's it. I don't care what you call it, whatever you want. Call it Tuesday, call it Christmas, call it, I don't care what. As long as I have these opportunities to have these time frames, this time with the people that I care about and doing the things that I love and that bring us joy and all of those things. So I don't actually care about the holidays. I just care about time spent. And of course it always, all this kind of stuff gets me thinking about people who are in a bad space, because we know the holidays are so difficult for so many people, whether they are alone or if they've just suffered a tremendous loss or you know, anything and negative. If the money, finances is a huge issue. It's a huge issue for nearly everyone right now. You know, so people are stressing about buying gifts for people they love. They're stressed about paying their bills, paying their heating cost and food. I mean, the stresses are astronomical right now for so many people. And it makes me so sad to think that the holidays, the impending holidays, are sad and difficult for people. So I kind of wish we'd put less importance on a specific day and maybe Jesus Christ, just focus on the rest of the year, like doing the things year round, right? I'm not talking about buying gifts. You know that. My hair is really crappy today, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know why I apologize for that. What do you care if my hair looks like crap, right? It's a day, guys. It's a day. It's such a day. So yeah, so let's try and be mindful of people that are struggling with the holidays. And that doesn't mean not to enjoy your holiday. You should, even more reason to really be present in the moment of the holidays and spending time with your family and people you care about. Because there are people out there who don't get to do that for whatever reason. I mean, if they're, in the military and they're serving overseas, if they are or out of country, or if they are your law enforcement officers, please keep them in mind as well as we get through the holidays. They are working. They are not with their families. They are out doing their job so that you can enjoy your holidays and be safe and have that quality time. So, give them a little pause for thought. Um, One nice thing that happens all the time, and I know it happens in PDs across the country, people will drop off like Thanksgiving dinners, like full dinners, like the full thing. Will drop them off to the PD so that they have Thanksgiving dinner. And you've seen the pictures, I'm sure, of police officers, with a paper plate of Thanksgiving food in their cruiser, and they're eating their Thanksgiving dinner by themselves in their cruiser while their families are, you know, all together and celebrating. That hurts my heart to think of that. But that is the way it is. They sacrifice and they do so willingly, not necessarily happily, but willingly because they do it for a greater purpose. So if you could take a moment and maybe send some love their way, whether it be via a card, dropping off some baked goods or something, anything, just any type of acknowledgement for their sacrifice. And if you are a law enforcement family member, if you're a spouse of a police officer or any of our first responders, of course, I know it's really hard on you because you want your person, your significant other, there with you. And I talk about this actually in my book, Welcome to the Family, Life Behind the Thin Blue Line. This is something I talk about in the book, about that sacrifice that we all make as law enforcement families. We sacrifice our loved one to the job so that they can do their job, and we go without them to family get-togethers, and we bear the brunt of the good-natured humor of, you sure you have a husband? Ha 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 ha, and all of those things, and the reminders like, oh, it's so sad that your husband or your wife is working and they can't be with you. Doesn't that suck? Well, yes, Karen, it sucks. Thank you for reminding me of that. Don't be a Karen. Don't do that. Don't be Uncle Bob pointing out that you're by yourself with the kids and fending for yourself while your partner is working. And don't be that person. Just be more mindful, more kind and helpful to them, with the kids and with them not having their spouse with them or partner. And, specifically to my fellow spouses, as you deal with this holiday on your own, try not to be angry and bitter and mad at them for working, for doing their job when you want them with you. Like, I get it. I get it 100%. You're frustrated, you're sad, you're a little resentful because you just want them there with you. And it doesn't feel very fair. And we all get that. It's not fair. It's not fair. It just sucks, right? But remember, you are surrounded by loved ones in a warm, cozy home, having all of the food fresh and hot off the stove and the oven, and they are eating off a paper plate in their cruiser, or in a PD, meeting room or something. So it sucks for them. It sucks for them more than it sucks for you. I hate to put it like that, but it kind of does. Okay. And they're making that sacrifice, for your family to provide. So try. I hate to preach at you. I'm sorry if this comes across as being preachy. Pardon my preach. But keep that in mind, that there is no place that they would rather be than with their family. but this is what they signed on for. I will use the phrase that the haters love to use. This is what they signed on for, and thereby this is what you signed on for, right? So we have to remember that even when it sucks and even when it's hard and it feels unfair and you're overwhelmed and frustrated and tired, please, please, please give yourself that compassion and give them that compassion that they need to get through challenging holidays and experiences, because it is painful to miss so much of family time and quality time and moments, all of those magical little moments that you only get one time. They hate missing it. It's awful for them. So remember to be compassionate. And again, I'm not saying that you're not. I'm not accusing you. I'm just saying the feelings are normal. They happen, and it's hard to find that balance sometimes when you feel so sad and hurt and disappointed. But think outside of yourself. That's the advice I would give if that's what you're going through right now. We're very fortunate right now, because my husband is, he's been on the job for more than 35 years. He's, moved up into the ranks, and he's in a position now where he does not have to miss a holiday unless something, God forbid, major is happening. And then of course he would get called in and he would have to go in. So it's always a possibility that he could get called in. But he's typically able to be off now at this point for holidays. So we're very fortunate in that way. But, we've been there, we've lived through it, we've done it. My husband over the years, or over the course of his career, has missed countless events, parties, occasions, holidays, all of the things. He's missed many of it. He's put in his time and then some. So he's earned his right to be able to do this stuff. And he actually, if I may brag on my man for a moment, he's so kind. He will oftentimes, we have a lot of people guys in the PD with young children. So he'll go in, and help out on like a Christmas Eve or whatever. He's gone in many Christmas Eves when he doesn't have to relieve somebody so that they could get some family time with their small children, because he understands how difficult that is. So yeah, he's pretty awesome. What can I say? He's the best. 15 years, guys. This isn't the honeymoon phase. 15 years. So he gets more awesome every day. Okay, I'm done bragging on my man. So let's close out. I feel like I missed lots of things that I probably wanted to say, but I guess I got the major things in. And did we talk about politics at all? Nope. Did you see how easy it is? I just talked how long I've been on for? Like a half hour, approximately, somewhere in the range. I just talked for a half hour. Didn't talk about politics. See? We can do this. We can do this. We can get through Thanksgiving and Christmas, but we'll talk before Christmas. We can get through Thanksgiving without getting into I did talk a little bit about it, sort of. We can do it without getting into fights with people. What do? Walk away. If Uncle Joe or Aunt Karen starts talking about Orange Man bad, what do? You just pour some more wine in her glass. You walk away. You tell her hair looks pretty. Just redirect them. Redirect. That's my answer. There's our solution. This is what we're going to do. You ready? And I'm talking to myself too. I'm telling myself this too. Somebody brings up politics with opposing views. If y'all agree, it's all good. You talk away, right? But if you know it's going to become a fight, redirect them just like you would with a child. That's a big tactic with small children when they're about to do something they're not supposed to do, or they're doing something they're not supposed to do. And you don't want to be the parent that says no all the time. Or you don't want to, parent negatively or whatever, any of that crap. Redirect. Hey, look at this. This is so amazing. Hey, did I tell you about, the whatever? I mean, I don't know. Did you hear that new song? Oh my God, it's such a great song. Did you see that movie? Redirect. Pour the wine. I'm not saying alcohol is the answer. Sometimes that actually makes things worse. Probably a lot of times that makes things worse. But if it's not a situation where it makes it worse, by all means, hang on to that bottle, guys. Yeah. So just don't go there. Don't disrupt your peace. That's my advice. My unsolicited advice. Advice you did not ask for, advice you maybe didn't even need from me. But I gave it anyway. So that's what we're going to do, guys, right? We are going to, wow, this has been a rough hair day, folks. Yeah, it just is what it is. There's that ADHD I talk about. Anyhow, I hope that you have a beautiful, peaceful, thankful Thanksgiving. Take care, guys. We'll see you next week.
Trying to figure out what to get your loved ones for Christmas? Well, I have the Christmas wish list all in one spot for you. It is the ultimate one-stop shop for all of your holiday needs. Check it out at Amazon.com, shop Elsa Kurt.
Looking for the perfect book to read or to give? Why not check out one of my books? They can all be found on Amazon.com and most major online retailers.